Hello, today I want to talk about how do we work around eliminating ID maps and just using the Vertex Color and building up our shader system, and an example of how you can create such a material that will make up the whole building. As you can see, without the glasses need a transparent shading system. It will cost more. But other than the glasses, the whole system is just one material and just the 4 layers. I will introduce you to this one single draw call material that I use in my whole building package. I will release this soon. This whole system using the same material. It's buildings and it's on the construction now. But I will talk you on how do we work on how to create this. So in the beginning, let's see what we have in the layers. So as the background, we have a wood row layer, which has a texture set of wood textures, that all the wooden structure are using this. And we have some UV magic to work around to eliminate the repetition. So we use offset variation, and it is trim sheet and along the Y direction. So each mesh will have a different UV offset based on the location. If we try to, for example, edit and get this mesh and apply our material to it, as basically it is this wood asset, but when we offset it, we will have a different color, brightness value, offset value, and additional things. I don't know what we have randomized, but we are using randomization. And in the color we have our brightness and desaturation amount. So every wood piece have a different random value to break the repetition. So when we examine in the mesh paint mode in the vertex color, we can see our vertex color is black for this mesh. So we will use other vertex color data to blend our different layers. So when we take a look on our walls and apply the same material to it, we will have an instantly different view. So this has, let's see, on the vertex color, we are using 2 vertex colors. Red will eliminate the whole thing and it will say, okay, this is a red piece, red ID material. And we have the yellow color by applying our green channel to these vertices to mask out the edges of the mesh to create a blending method. Simple as that. And lastly, if we take a look on this roof module, here, and again apply the same mesh, we have our roof tiles. And take a look on the color, it's white. So why it's white? Actually we are using the blue channel, but it is overwriting to on top of it, so it will just work fine. So we have these 3 assets that are using the same. And also this wall module has a variation on the blend mask. So let's take a look on the material side. So again, our wood material will based on ORD texture set method. Our textures are albedo, normal and ORD. And UV logic will have object scale, which is when we scale it will also tile, it won't stretch, and when we move we have a different random offset. This is some universal wood logic for my project, all done by the same master layer. So we have this object scale and UV offset variation. In the color we have our random brightness amount and desaturation, and all the other parts are simple material adjustments. So we have next the stone layer. If I eliminate the concrete wall layer, you can see better. So yes, now this wood module has only one layer that is showing on top of it. As you can see, the displacement is working very nice with tessellation and nanite. And the layer is simple actually. It's again the ORD texture set. The textures are this. But I have this, I will make another video for this, but basically we have an option to use texture arrays, and we change the number, we will have a different set. As simple as that. I don't know how many textures I have in this array. So I have 6 different kind of texture sets in this array. So we can have up to 6 different textures. And all the other things are the same. We don't have any special thing. What we have special here is the blend method. So as I said, we are using vertex colors that we don't paint, but we just bake into the texture vertex data. I paint them in the blender, apply the vertex colors there, and you can see, alright, we have our red all over, which is this paint mask. We are using vertex and paint as the base mask. So we have this vertex color mask as the base mask, so we are using red channel. And actually that's it. We don't have any special blending method, any detail mask, any base mask. We just have this vertex paint, vertex color data that will replicate the ID mask method. We don't need another additional texture for this mesh specifically. We don't use any memory for storing the texture. We don't have any sampling methods. It's just raw texture data, which is already going to include in the mesh. So we just use it as the mask now. And now let's include this new concrete wall layer, and let's see it is blend. In the paint mask we are using again the vertex color, but it is for the blend. It's not an overwriting. And we are using the green channel. So the green channel, let's see, yes. So this layer will only show up on the green parts, and there is this gradient alongside to the edges of the mesh, which will create this gradient area that we can work our detail masks. So right now, if we debug view, we will see how this blend method works. So this is our mask. This is all procedural. And if we discard the detail mask for now, we will only see this paint mask. And if you can see, I don't know, it's hard to see, but there is this darkening value. We can, if I show you like this, yes. So this is our mask. This has this basic gradient. So the detail mask is how this blend method is working. So we are using attribute data that is coming from bottom layer, and it is using displacement. So the bottom layer's displacement is this texture. Was the fourth one. So this is our texture, and this is our height data. I don't know, maybe it was the other one, it doesn't matter. You get the idea. This is our attribute mask amount. We can control the mask amount. You know, when we set the highest point, this area that you can see is the gradient, the transition area that is happening, and this attribute mask is overwriting, adding this displacement map as a mask. So basically it is using vertex color mask and using a gradient, using the attribute mask to break up this gradient area. I know it makes sense now, because we don't have any base mask. We just say, okay, we have this logic in the green channel, and it's happening like this. So displacement data, the higher points in the displacement map, the bottom layer will be shown. And the cool part is we can control all the area to blend. You know, we have now really low contrast to maximize this blend area, but if we increase the contrast, this transition area will be shortened, and this area of the breakup have a smaller area. So when we maximize the contrast, so this is our fully contrasted paint mask. So with the paint mask's contrast, when we lower the value, we will create the transition area bigger, and our detail mask is working on the transition area. And we have again some randomizations in the blend methods. We can say, okay, you can set different amount of the mask, because our mask paint amount will also offset the mask. And maybe we can say, okay, we can use random paint amount. You can add up to 0.5. So when we move our mesh, we will have different amounts of the mask. Now when we increase this paint amount, it will be more dramatic. So every mesh that we copy and paste will have a different amount of mask, and that way we can have different masks on each mesh. Also the contrast can be adjusted, so it will actually better maybe to have different values. You know, some maybe fully go black, some fully the bottom layer, top layer. They will all have a different value, and you can change the random rate to create this randomization. And it can be also in the attribute mask amount. So if we set 0.5, our paint mask maybe 2, this detail mask will have a random value, but when we increase too much, it can go full black or full white, so we will lose the detail data. But yeah, the logic is like this. Again, my whole point is to create maximum variation with minimal draw call. Try to use the same thing all over. And for the last part, we can see how our roof tiles. So we don't have any base mask, any detail mask, we just have our vertex color, and we are sampling the blue channel. So this is working like an ID mask. Roof tiles will be blue, wall all have red, and only this concrete part have yellow, the green. So yeah, RGB channels are basically work on identifying where these layers will be shown up, and we can leverage the paint values to create these masks and also separate our parts. Again, this is all nanite displaced, you know, single plane. This is all very nice. And one trick for people who are watching all this far, nanites usually will break up in the sharp corners, but when we shade smooth in all the mesh, let me show you here, if you can see this shading methods, normally you will have auto smooth and the faces will be shading correctly, but it will create hard transition in the corners. But if we set shade smooth, it will look actually wrong, but it will group the whole shading groups together, and nanite will not how to say, eliminate or break the shading parts, so it will act as a single shading method. And actually I don't know if it's wrong shading or not, but when we say edit the normals and we accept, it will correct all the wrong shading, but it won't break the corners. So I know if it makes sense. Maybe I need to make another video to show this. Actually, this was something I really worked on, because I don't like the breaking of this parts, this ends of the nanite tessellation. But I guess that's cool for now. So again, this whole building and all these structures that I'm trying to build, you know, every part that is making up this thing is using the same method. They will all have RGB channels. They will all have the same painting logic, fully red, and in the middle it will have green. So we have a gradient in the to the edges, and all these modules have the same logic, and all this house modules. Oh, this is too extreme for this. But inside top part, you know, this is pretty nice. Let me walk around. These glasses have a different method that is using transparency, and you know, these cracks have a Voronoi texture mask. I can show later on. Right now we have a pretty cool base setup for our houses that will have only one draw call, the same single thing, and when we make a whole pack level actor of it, it will calculate the whole nanite geometry, nanite triangles, and then add this material as a single draw call. It will pass only once, and that's it. So you can see the triangles working pretty fine. We have a really nice cool displacement. Why I really want to reduce the memory, I want to use the maximum potential of the nanite, but not to have too much polygons and increase memory of each mesh. That it can be this method can be worked really well on the different low-end platforms also. We just need nanite and that's it. But okay, I can try to work with the parallax in another video. So for now, that's it. Stay tuned for this house package. In a few days I will release it, hopefully. It has a really nice structural system that makes sense. I don't want to skip any parts and make a really architectural masterpiece with this all systems working. So yeah, for now that's it. Thank you, and see you in the next video.